What's up, guys? Big Pat, Swell RX. Here we're talking about a little special request. We're going to talk about the use of anabolics, specifically steroids, in teenage years. I do not advise. First off, this is just for informational use. Anyways, first we'll start like the reasons why you shouldn't do that. Well, all right, first off, if you're like 15, 17 years old, you're more than likely still growing. Structurally, you're still growing. So your growth plates are still open. And as a man who's trying to get bigger, look bigger, be more masculine, the last thing you want to do is stop growing. Because if you have a bigger frame, overall, your potential to get bigger is bigger. So, growth plates are closed off by high levels of, or higher ratios of testosterone to estrogen. Now this next part's, it's my opinion, pretty sure it's true. Anyways, so when you're younger, your estrogen to testosterone ranges are more close together. More than likely this is because SHBG levels are higher, sex hormone, binding globulin. So basically those like bind to hormones, specifically men testosterone, and kind of render them inactive. At the same time, aromatase is up high, and it's like the aromatase uses the SHBG levels to convert to estrogen. So if you're younger, you more likely have higher aromatase, higher SHBG levels. But all this goes into part to developing as a man. And I guess this could go for females too, but females is a little different. So we're gonna mainly stick to the guys right now. So anyways, so your ranges when you're younger are a little closer together. And by this happening, your androgen levels are not very high. This is why not too many 15-year-olds run around with beards or jacked delts, you know. Is because normally, let's say without the use of exogenous hormones, or without the use of, let's say, the avoidance of chemicals and just different things like BPA, whatnot, then naturally your hormones would not, adjust to the adult man levels until you're probably 20 or so. 18 to 21, it varies. So 18 to 21, your androgen levels increase, aromatase levels decrease, SHBG levels decrease, masculinity increases. At the same time, your structural stops. So in other words, your bone structure quits growing. Androgens harden up the growth plates. So the use of anabolics at that young age, more likely you're going to stunt your height, but you're going to stunt your width. Every part of you is going to stop growing if you had potential to grow. Now, that's the problem. The other problem with it being that, for one, I don't advise the use of exogenous hormones in anybody that is not bodybuilding. And this is because if you put these hormones in your body, essentially, let's say you put testosterone in your body, and it doesn't matter where you get it from, prescription, whatever, or even pro hormones, they do the same thing. I wouldn't even advise the use of SARMs at that age. So basically, at that age, I would suggest to stick with something even more natural, and like a higher, well, we'll talk about the diet in a minute. So anyways, long-term testosterone use, you're shutting down your testicles, okay? At the same time, you're shutting down the production of other hormones, and you create like a negative feedback off your HPTA, hypothalamic pituitary axis. Yeah. Anyways, hypothalamic pituitary axis. And this basically controls like your sex hormones and how they're produced and all that. So by introducing these hormones, more than likely what's going to happen, and I've seen it plenty of times, is you'll be using them the rest of your life. Now, you got to think before the use of any of these products, specifically hormones. Like you go to the doctor, you get a prescription for testosterone, more than likely you're going to be on it the rest of your life. Why? Because you become physically dependent on it and even mentally dependent on it. So if you could avoid the use of that, I would, straight off the bat. And for two, like being that age, 15, 17, your hormones are already in a very anabolic range, more than likely. And if they're not, it's because of other factors, whether it be sleep, food, training, and even stimulants. So, all right. So for one, stopping growth plates from the use of exogenous hormones and anabolics. Two, you want to be on this stuff forever. That's another one. Or three, for me, I feel like I've picked this apart already. I've seen it on numbers of people. What I've seen, it seems like as soon as you introduce exogenous hormones, you shut down the production of sperm naturally. So like basically, let's say someone's on testosterone, their sperm production's gone. Essentially, they go infertile. And then from there, I feel like our whole purpose on this earth is to reproduce. And after that purpose is done, we age much faster. Because it's like, after you've reproduced, you have no reason to be here. And so I believe the introduction of hormones actually increases the rate of aging. If you want longevity, you want happiness, you want sustainable life, increasing that second period of your life. Let's say you split your life into thirds or fourths. The first period is adolescence. Okay, your hormones and whatnot, you're growing. The second period is supposed to be your fertile period. This is your largest period. This is like 17 all the way till some people reproduce in their 80s and they walk around still jacked. This is like indigenous countries where people, they don't consume sugars and hormonal foods, antibiotics, BPAs. So if you're seeking longevity, that's what I would suggest. Stay all natural. If you're trying to increase your growth, so you want to increase muscle growth and you don't want to stop your structural growth, there's a few things you can do. For one, limit the consumption of stimulants. Increasing stimulants increases cortisol. Cortisol doesn't work with HGH. So if you're limiting, let's say you've got a high cortisol from drinking energy drinks all day, then that means your HGH levels are low. HGH levels are low, that means IGF-1 levels will be low as well. It's the problem. HGH doesn't specifically create growth, but what it does do is it converts into IGF-1, which can increase cell proliferation. So basically what that is like you increase the amount of cells you have. If you're trying to build muscle, you want more IGF-1 to a certain extent. You don't want to be like unhealthily increasing IGF-1. That doesn't necessarily mean taking supplements. It's mainly through diet manipulation this can be done. Me personally, I'd suggest a lower carbohydrate diet and no sugars. So like if you increase, let's say you have less sugar, because insulin and growth hormone don't coexist either. I got a couple theories on it, but the direct studies on it show when insulin's up, growth hormone's down. For me, I feel like at the same time, this could be utilized, let's say when HGH levels are high, this is like you're fasting. Then you consume carbs. That HGH, in my opinion, should be converted to IGF-1. So basically, IGF-1 production increases as HGH production increases with timed carbs. So if you're really trying to grow naturally, limit your sugars. For one, sugars are toxic in every kind of way. Like they're just going to stress your body out, stress your liver, stress all your other organs. But what you can do is eat a lower carbohydrate diet, a high meat diet, specifically red meats, beef. They've already linked high protein diets to increase IGF-1 levels. And that just means, they're more anabolic. Now, if you're vegan, can't speak much on that. I haven't done no vegan stuff yet. But let's say you're trying to grow naturally. High meat diet. Start with a large steak first thing in the morning. I'm not going to talk about macros and whatnot right now. Lots of meats, low glycemic carbs pre-workout or, throughout the day. Post-workout, white rice, jasmine rice, my favorite. Fish, to me, is probably the more anabolic one, but I still like my red meats. Lots of steaks. All right, what else we got? I know that's most of what we covered. I got some stuff wrote down behind you. But yeah, so being young right now, if you're young, you're watching this, there's plenty of alternatives to growing. But first off, it's always going to be training. Well, it's not going to be training. First off is food. Second off, sleep and recovery. So, but at the same time, limit the stimulants, increase your protein intake, specifically meats, not like powdered protein. That stuff's toxic too. And then when all that's in check, because you control cortisol, your stress hormone, you can increase HGH, IGF-1, increase your recovery rate, increase your growth hormones, increase muscle growth. And then from there, let's say you're 15, 17, you're growing muscle faster and faster. When your body's ready to fully mature, it will, naturally. And then as your testosterone and estrogen ranges go back or go into a more adult state, your growth plates will naturally harden. And then from there, you can consider, what you're going to do next. At the same time, there's a few alternatives. You might want to check it out. Phosphatidic acid, all natural stuff. It's been proven to be very anabolic. I've been taking it as well. Get some big pumps on it. Right now we got some available on Amazon and swolerx.com. It's called PA Swole. At the same time, I'd say that's probably one of the hottest things out there right now. Certain natural compounds, you can take to manipulate hormones. But for one, I would just avoid the use of like heavy plastics. Like try to stay away from the foggy like water jugs. Anything clear, hard plastic is BPA free. Kind of stick with that. No foam cups, none of that. What else we got? Limit the use of soy. At the same time, breads, grains. Like I don't believe the use of gluten, and they put a lot of soy products in these things. And soy carries like isoflavones that your body can turn into estrogen or phytoestrogen, xenoestrogens, and we get enough of that already. Maybe you can use the addition of like something like boron citrate. It's pretty common to help change your body mass, lower estrogen, lower aromatase a little bit. Depends on your body really. Like if you have a high estrogen, high aromatase, like you're building chest fat and all that, more than likely it's diet related. But at the same time, you can do a little bit of manipulation. Any other questions, hit a comment below. like, subscribe. Let's check it out. SwoleRx.com. Swole-RX.com. We're on Amazon. And yeah, thank you for watching.